Hey, what's up guys? Got another super cool video. It's pretty long awaited. We're gonna be installing some KW coilovers on the Fiesta St today. So guys, these are the coils right here. Comes with a pretty cool little toolkit that comes with some spanner wrenches and stuff like that. And then let's take a look at them. All right guys, so these are the KW V1 coilovers for the Fiesta St. These are basically, you can't adjust the dampening, you can't adjust the camber, which at first may seem kind of not worth it for the value or the price of these things, but for me, I wanted a simple, straight on coilover that, you know, doesn't have too much adjustment. I want something that's kind of set and balanced for the car already. These, you can adjust the height, which is a very important thing, so we can finally lower this car. And then I also have new strut mounts because these will actually can use the old OEM strut mounts. So I got some new ones. So it should be a pretty straightforward install. All right guys, so the first step for the fronts are, we're actually gonna break the lug nuts loose, we're gonna jack the car up, and then that way we can take the wheels off, and then we're gonna take the wiper cowl off to get the top, and then we can also get the bottom ones down there. It should be pretty straightforward. So now that we have the wheel off, we can take a look on kind of seeing what we actually have to take out down here. So it looks like we have the end link right here, 2 bolts right here through the knuckle, a brake line, ABS sensor, and then there should be a few up there, but we'll need to take the wiper cowl to get some better access to those. All right, so we're going to take off the wiper cowls here. So it should be just 2 caps. Wipers are a 15 mil. So to take these off, there's these little clips. You just kind of have to pry them up and kind of pull them off. And you're lined up across the bottom over here. All right guys, so for whatever reason, my wiper blade is not wanting to come off. So hopefully I can just move the wiper cowl out of the way and we can get to these bolts over here. All right guys, so still can't get the wiper off, but I was able to get that cowl out over here. So if you've seen my crossover take video right here, I show a pretty easy way of actually how to take it off. So hopefully you don't run into that and you can do that. And now we have really good easy access to the bolts right here for the top hats. So just 3 bolts and we just have to take those out, our nuts, but we'll take them out, take out the bottom parts down there, and then I think this front strut should actually be able to come out. What I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna take off this brake line right here, and then I'm gonna take off this ABS sensor, which that's pretty easy, actually. And then the brake line should be a clip, a bolt there. There we go. Oh, can't forget the end link right there. All right, so this is the last bolt right here, or last nut holding this thing on. So try to have a hand holding it. That way you don't drop the strut. Boom, and there we go. There's one out, so pretty straightforward actually, especially if I didn't have the wiper issue. We'd have probably little issues getting this thing out of here. Alright guys, so I got the coilovers set up and prepared to put in the car. Tighten down these new mounts up here. I set them to about the same height, so there's about an inch on each thread. We'll see if that's too low. Hopefully it's perfect. I mean, that's what you always hope for, but well, we can always adjust it. So actually start putting in the fronts and then we can move on to the back. Alright, so to make this pretty easy, you grab one of the bolts, grab one of the nuts, feed it up in there. Yep. Alrighty guys, so I got this coilover in here. Everything is tightened down. Tighten these down as much as I can, and then I also put some blue Loctite on that. I got the brake line, ABS clip and sensor, and then the end link. So everything's tightened down. Also, like I said, retighten these up here. It looks pretty cool in there. So we'll have to see how the ride height is. I'm not sure. It might be really low, it might be perfect, or it might be pretty high. We'll have to figure that out, but I'm excited to do the other side and just go from there. So that side also came together pretty quickly. This would have been a pretty easy job. I think the hardest thing so far had been taking out these ABS clips and possibly that wiper. But all right guys, so I'm gonna put the wheel on and we're gonna lower it and see how the ride height is. All right guys, it looks nuts right there. Look at the fitment on that. So that side. The other side might be a little higher, so I might need to do some adjustment, but I don't know. It might be the lighting or something like that, but it looks pretty cool. So let's jump onto the rears real quick and knock that out. The rears are pretty easy, same thing. Take the wheels off. So taking a look at the rears, we have one big nut and bolt right there. And then at the very top, it's kind of hard to see up there, but there is two bolts, I believe, holding up the shock. Once the shock is out, it should relieve tension on the spring right here, allowing that to just kind of fall out. We can swap that over, swap over the strut, and then put the side back together. So the rears are actually a lot easier to do than the fronts, which is really nice. So I'm gonna get this done real quick and yeah. All right, so I think this one's actually already out. So pretty easy, pretty straightforward. So everything kind of fell out, but rear suspension's already out, so it's simply just putting it back together. So the rear is really easy. If you're kind of wanting to get warmed up, I would say start with the rear, but luckily the fronts are done and I can just finish up the rears, adjust the ride height, get in alignment, and the car is good to go. I'm really stoked on it. I think it's gonna be really cool. So it's time to start putting this together. So I'm gonna grab the new KW strut right here. I'm gonna put it up there, tighten those two up. So the way it kind of seems like it works is the adjustable collar right here actually goes up here at the top. So I took that bushing off. This seems like where it fits the most. And these coilovers don't have much info online. So there is an ST suspension, which I think ST suspension is KW or some sort of brand of KW. So it seems like these might go kind of up here. And then we'll use some sort of plastic. This little plastic part, that part will actually just go right in there just like that. So the spring will go like this. It's kind of what it seems like it's gonna do. And then you have the adjuster up there at the top. To get them kind of lined up, it seems to be a little bit of a process, but not too bad. So what I've done is kind of zip tied both sides together. So this side's like this, lined them up, raised this one up just a little bit so there'd be a little bit of tension. And then going over to the other side, I did the same thing. but now it's pretty hard to actually lift this up because I have to lift up both springs. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get the jack, see if I can jack it from somewhere, maybe each side. That way I can get the actual strut bolt in there. And then once I get that in there, check the heights, tighten everything down, double check it. And then I think the rears are good and we can adjust height then. Alrighty guys, so ride height is set evenly on both sides. And like I said, it's just kind of putting it back together, putting the wheel back on, lowering it, and seeing how it is. It could be pretty high, it could be pretty low. We'll just have to check. Alrighty guys, moment of truth to see how it is. Let's try it out. Ooh. Honestly, that's pretty good. I think I could go a little bit lower though. The fronts are just not, it's just not really even with the fronts. The front though, that one needs to go up for sure. But the car's got a pretty cool aggressive look. Like this front one up here, I like the look of. I think the backs can go down just a little bit. But the fronts though, I feel like I'm gonna rub, so let me get this dialed in. Alrighty guys, so, and then after quite a bit of work of readjusting the height on these, I was able to get it about 3 inches from the top of the wheel to the fender on about every corner. So the car sits and rides pretty evenly so far. So looks pretty good. It's not super low. Hopefully it will settle a little bit, but I'm still rather be a little bit higher for now, especially in the front. The rear, I'm not really worried about any rubbing or anything. The front though might actually have rub, so I'd rather be higher up than lower. But I think it looks a lot better right now and looks really good. So guys, a little bit of time has passed, but I finally was able to get the fitment and ride on this car good. But I also was rubbing really bad. So I have a 17x8 plus 42 wheel, and I had a 215/40 tire. So I had no camber up front and was rubbing really bad up front actually. So did a little bit of research and figured out what I could do to help that. So what I did was I got camber bolts up front. So that actually allowed me to add 1.5 degrees of camber or so up front. And then I also went down to a 205/40 tire. So a little bit of a skinnier tire, meaning it's a little bit more stretched, but it allowed me to have some much better clearance up front. So I was able to get the ride height where I wanted, and even after driving on it for about a week or so, I actually love the way it drives. I got my alignment and the car drives straight, but it handles so well in corners. And these coilovers are really good, even on small bumps and things like that. I would say the ride quality is similar to OEM, but maybe a little better actually. Certain bumps, it just takes them way better and the car just rolls through them. A few bumps are actually harder and rougher, but I think it's a perfect trade-off to have and the car feels great. And it's very important that you do get in alignment basically right after you install your coilovers, because it's likely that the toe on your car is going to be so far off, the car is not going to handle very well, and you're also going to burn through your tires very quickly. So make sure you get your alignment. And yeah, that's it. Just a little bit of work, but definitely not terrible. And I think it looks really cool and it should ride pretty well. So if you guys have any questions, drop them down below. Leave a like and subscribe. Thanks guys.